Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, I'm Linda Beard, your host and author of the upcoming book, Bold Enough. Thank you once again for allowing me to come into your world. We have been on this Bold Enough journey. We have talked about the reason why I started the podcast Bold Enough and wrote the book Bold Enough. It's all about living that life of being free, having that life of joy and peace. And what does it take to be bold enough? So we talked about healing, forgiving, reconciliation, love, loving our families, embracing friendship, and having those friends around us that are really investing in us, that really have our best interest in mind, and also loving again. What is that checklist that's important to you for that right partner to have that healthy romantic relationship? Today, I want to talk about just taking those things. It's almost like pausing in my book so far, taking those chapters and looking at the reality, at the practical reality of what you've learned so far and living that life, the balance of that life, and being bold enough practically to live it out. Remember that friend, Barbara Jackson, who told me I was detached? Well, she's on speed dial. And my contacts on my iPhone, we talk daily, sometimes more than daily. Yeah, I need her in my life. She helped me to start that bold enough journey, to get connected, to encourage me to get to the core of who I am to be authentically. That friend that was bold enough to tell me the truth. And I'm so glad she did. She's also that support system, that trained specialist that's in my life to help me to stay rooted, grounded, and to continue that everyday journey to move forward. And it is an everyday journey. I am sharing with you the reality is that every day you are going to have to, I call it fighting, protecting yourself to take those necessary actions to be bold enough to be authentically you. It is a everyday occurrence, sometimes hourly, to protect yourself, to be who you are authentically. It will not go away. As long as you are walking around on this earth, you will be taking those necessary actions to fight, to protect you, to be authentically you. So Barbara is constantly teaching me some things. As we're having daily conversations, I am chuckling, sometimes laughing at myself. And she's teaching me to eliminate, particularly one word, out of my vocabulary. And that word is but, because that word tends to send me in the wrong direction. That's backwards. She'll tell you why in just a moment. And there's other things that she's teaching me as well. And she's going to today share some common things in this bold enough journey that she will have you watch out for. And they're definitely popping up in my journey as well. We'll share those things because I want to be very realistic with you. The challenges that I'm facing as I am walking this bold enough journey, and some things that have been very interesting as I have walking this journey every day that I've noticed, but it used to be me. And one of those things is that as I'm observing others, that have not yet decided to be authentically who they are, I'm observing that that used to be me. And one of those things is watching people change their position as they are interacting in different audiences. So in one audience or group of people they're interacting with, their position is this. With another group of people they're interacting with, their position is different. And I noticed in this group they said this group they're saying this. And I'm like, am I confused? Did they just not say this and then they said this? Ah, that used to be me. It's different now. As I observe it on the outside looking in, ah, that's crazy. But that was me. I'm very sympathetic as I observe it now from the outside looking in. Yeah. So I'm sharing with Barb, isn't that crazy? That was me. Why does that happen? So Barb, welcome back, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you back. So let's talk about a couple of things here right out of the gate. Let's talk about the only reason why I should use the word but, and I'm going to just push it out there to the audience right away. Now, audience, you know that I'm a Christian, and so Barbara and I established this real early. I'm going to use but when I need to say but God, okay? And I learning that I have another phrase instead of, especially when I'm looking at Barb in the eye, if we're in person, I've come up with, instead of when my lips are getting ready to form the word but, I'm going to like easily transition and say, and yes, and yes. Or if we're on the phone talking, she can almost like visualize I'm getting ready to say but I don't say it. So we kind of chuckle about that. So she's going to talk a little bit more why I shouldn't use the word but, and then we'll get on about changing position in my observation of, watching people and how I realized that I was a crazy person, how I changed my position on things. But I get it now. And there's lots of reason why we do that. So Barb, take it from here and help our audience in this bold enough walk as they're learning to be authentically who they are at the core, as I am walking this journey as well.
Thanks for having me again. When it comes to the word but, and having known you for so long, and when we're talking and knowing, we're sharing what our hopes and dreams are, and you say, well, I want this and I want that, and then later in another part of the conversation, it could be the same day or another day, you use the word after explaining something. Yeah, but, and that's how you do it. And then I say, well, you said you want this, but is to me conveying doubt or fear or contradictory to what you say you want.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I really have to bring up the point of, you use that word often when you're right either at the threshold of something or heading in the direction of the thing that you said you wanted. Why not use that in reference to, but God, but
Yeah.
God,
Right.
when it comes to grief, someone has done something.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, you did do this, but God meant it for good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Try to use a different word.
Yeah. And that's why I went to the and yes. I want and yes, I can, or that seems to work better,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I'm learning, audience. Again, it's about balance and moving forward. Moving forward is the key. You're healed. You've forgiven. Move forward. I keep constantly saying, new me, not old me. I'm embracing the new. I'm embracing the new. So, Barb, we were chuckling about me observing others that have not decided to be authentically them. And I was sharing with you, wow, that's really crazy how that happens, but I get it. That used to be me. And you were saying, well, you know, sometimes people are fearful of exposing who they are, particularly in the business setting, because you are on a trajectory, you know, your career path, and you want people to see you a certain way. I get that in the business world. You want to portray a certain image, point of view, if that is going to get you where you need to be. I can understand that. You may perhaps think that if you had a different perspective, you may not be seen as being part of the team. Perhaps. At least that kind of validates where you want to go, I guess. I see that differently now. I told the audience many times that, you know, I am a career healthcare executive. I'm doing very well. I am who I am at my core, and I'm still continuing to do well. So I've seen both sides. I've played both sides. What are your thoughts?
I would be concerned about the image, because the image is man-made and it is a layer.
Mm-hmm.
If can you authentically be those things and do those things with whom and how you are made?
I love who
And
I am now. I will tell you that. I actually am doing better being who I am at the core. For those of you out there that feel in the business career world that you have to be a certain way, you have to be like everyone else in order for that trajectory to be career-wise where you need to go. I feel that I have done better being who I am at the core, just as an FYI, for those that you are feeling like you have to conform. I'm sorry, Barb, but
so then, you know, it's unfortunate that people expect you to have an image. I've had thought about someone that was saying, well, this person has nothing to bring to the table.
mm-hmm.
And I'm like thinking in my head, not saying out of my mouth, well, it's quiet as his kept, really, neither do you. And all of those things, you know, seriously, and all those things, you know, as far as a resume, if, you know, I'm a Christian too, and we look at Paul and he said, I count all that as dung, really, because what credit does it really actually give us in the presence of the most important one?
Well, you
it
know,
doesn't give us any credibility. And then when you look at it, you have integrity with yourself, and integrity in the presence of your creator, and then integrity in front of others, whom you are in on the inside of your home, or who you are, or at the core of who you are. You don't have to shift who you are in the presence of other people. You can shift what you do, because you might have a different function over here, but not necessarily who you are, because then your integrity It's questionable. I'm so authentic that when I was a student librarian, I remember they had hired a new manager to come in, and she wanted to get to know me, and then she made this statement. Um, she asked the question, and I answered it. She said, "Well, okay, now really tell the truth, because you don't have to, put your best foot forward or whatever." And I just kind of looked at her and responded and said, um, "Excuse me, but this is not me putting on. I've already taken those layers off. This is my thinking. I didn't. This is me. I hope you didn't think I was doing this to impress you.
And you
If
make
you're
a
impressed by what I said, great. But this is me. I trust me. I'm not putting on."
yeah.
Yeah.
You make a very, very good point. As we're living out this bold enough life, if it's so important that we continue not to put on layers, because we were created to be who we are. We were created to be different, not to be alike. If we don't be the difference, then we can't bring the impact. The difference is to create great impact. So, living out this brand new, bold enough life is to bring purpose, great impact, and for each of us to have that bold enough life and balance. Barb, we are going to pick this back up. I need to have you come back next week and pick this back up, because we got to keep this reality going about how do we live this bold enough life. Will you come back next week so we can pick this back up? Please, please, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, audience, come back next week so we can pick up how do we live out this bold enough life, this brand new bold enough life. So I'll see you next week for part 2, living out this bold enough life. Have a great week. Be bold enough.